The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome to the Senior Show, where we have two wild and aging guys. Tim, you're on like delay or something. I know you couldn't make it in today, but you're on delay. How are you doing?
That's not good. We got to see if we can fix that. Can they fix that?
Yeah. Well, we could fix it. Anyhow, Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Everything's good. Hey, business is good. You know, Neil, there are a lot of older Americans out there today that are trying to figure out their retirement income plan. Right. And I think it's important for us to let them know that, you know, it just isn't, you know, there just isn't one tool in the toolbox. You know, there are lots of tools, ways that we can coordinate multiple products and really create the probability of their money lasting longer in retirement with all these different tools that we can use.
Absolutely. Well, I was saying on my show last week, we were talking about freedom because July 4th is coming up, and I was thinking about financial freedom and what it takes to be financially free, and that's free of taxation, free of reliance on government programs, on a pension that may or may not exist anymore, on Social Security, which, you know, in 2032 may be gone.
Yeah.
And if you're not planning for these income flows not to happen because you haven't saved yourself and you're just dependent on things to happen for you, and while we're living longer and things are changing, it just ain't going to work. Now, we can
even Neil, even if we bring it down to a more simplistic form, right? Financial freedom. We all want to be financially independent as we age through retirement. And we all would like to leave a legacy of some sort to our children. And I would think, I know I agree and you agree, and most of the people on this call would agree, is the last thing we want to do is be a burden to our children or family. And how can we prevent that from happening? And especially with everything you just mentioned, with the uncertainty of all these different governmental property, government options that they have, you know, how else can they protect themselves and their families as time goes on?
Right. And, you know, it's funny because I've been dealing with a lot of young people lately, and one of the things that I've done for my whole life is play a lot of chess. And, you know, it's great to be aggressive and be on the offense, but any good chess player will tell you have to play offense and defense at the same time. Meaning, while you're accumulating, you can't just go for the wild stocks and go up and go down. You have to protect your flank and play defense at the same time. And a lot of what I do is protection planning to help you so that you can pass on that legacy to your heirs, and you can live with more money by hopefully being tax efficient in your retirement, taking tax-free money, and leaving behind hopefully tax-free money to the next generation so that you're not a financial burden by giving them all of your retirement money that they have to pay taxes on.
Right. Well, if you ask people out there, what is your biggest expense in retirement, I bet you most of them will probably say medical costs.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter, Neil, is what is the biggest expense in retirement? Taxes.
Taxes is huge, and medical's huge also. And you know, one of the things with medical, just an aside here, is paying your bills and knowing what to pay and not to pay, and having to fight with the insurance companies. You really need professionals to help you. Don't think you can do this all on your own. It's not easy. It's work.
It's a lot of work. And the other thing, I talk to people all the time, and Neil, we've had a lot of qualified and excellent elder law and estate planning attorneys on this show. And they say it all the time, do not go to the internet and print off a legal document and think that's going to suffice. And, a $20 document, instead of spending $2,000-3,000 with a licensed, professional elder law and estate planning attorney, sometimes that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 is a lot better spend than spending $20 off the internet, because you don't know what that's going to do to you in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then you lose everything.
Or in 2 years. I mean, the biggest thing that people don't realize, even if you've done wonderful planning, the laws change. And what you were able to do last year, you may not be able to do this year. I can't tell you how many laws change every year. The biggest change in my circles last 2 years is the treatment of IRAs when you pass on to the next generation. That's a huge, huge change. And not enough people I talk about it all the time, because this 10-year rule and the special needs planning that you have to do, all these different things, you didn't have to do that in the past. There was ways of stretching things out and doing things, and now it's completely reversed. And if you made your plans 5 years ago with all the best intentions, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it, and you haven't reviewed them, you might be leaving yourself in a bad situation.
Okay. That's why all that stuff has to be reviewed and looked at, continually, especially the significant life changes that go on in your life, right? Maybe a new marriage, maybe a loss of a spouse, an illness, all those different changes or catastrophic events, good and bad, right? All those documents have to be reviewed and looked at every couple of years, because you're right. The laws change.
The laws change and products change, and you had told me over and over again how these reverse equity lines of credit can be a great tax-free vehicle for people who either they're moving into a different house, or or they want to buy a summer house, or they just need the income so they can stay in the house. All these great tools you can use with building up that equity in the house on a tax-free basis is the kind of things that we talk about that's so valuable in having financial freedom. And, we talk about being a burden. To me, that's defensive. Let's be offensive. Let's do the right thing so that we don't have to be defensive.
Neil, I don't know if you realize that this stat, but 50% of American homeowners enter retirement paying a mortgage. And 30% of the household expenses are towards the house, towards household expenses, towards housing expenses.
Right.
And that's why I always chirp in about, how do we incorporate and use home equity as part of the retirement income plan? And like you, going back to defense, by not having to pay a principal and interest payment through retirement years on fixed income, that's huge.
Yep.
Just think about Long Island. What is the average principal and interest payment on Long Island? $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, maybe more?
Yeah.
That is extra money that you're not depleting from your retirement resources.
Yep.
Or maybe having employment in retirement, because you need to pay that principal and interest payment, right? So these are different ways that you can protect and preserve yourself as you're going through retirement and wanting to age in place.
All good. So, speaking of changes, I hear you have a wedding coming up.
We have a wedding coming up. It's exciting stuff. Yep. We're in full-blown panic mode.
Oh, boy.
And, it's exciting stuff. So everybody's coming into town. We're finishing the last bits and pieces of it, right, getting everything together. But we're excited. It's going to be a good time.
That's crazy. People's lives change very quickly. and you have to plan. Weddings aren't cheap.
Not in New York, they're not.
No. So I get it. So I mean,
do what we do here.
There's a lot of things going on. So just because I'm ready to retire. Wait a minute. Oh, I got this bill I forgot about. So planning's so important for the good things.
First, I got 2 more to go.
Oh boy. Well, I only have 2, so that's. Wait for that one. It's all good.
There you go. All right. So, yeah, this concept of looking into, again, the offensive part of it, how can we accumulate wealth? But then the defensive side of it is how can we protect and preserve it and hold on to it?
Absolutely. And, between us, we got some great tools to help people. And, Tim, listen, we're getting ready to go on break. Tim, how do people get a hold of you, and what's the best way to reach you? And
hey, yeah, sure. Thank you, Neil. Hey, if you want to reach me, want to learn more about a reverse mortgage and how it may help you in retirement, give me a call. Tim Kennedy, 516-729-6040, or you can reach me at timtalksreverse.com.
And this is Neil Himmelstein. Best way to reach me, 631-647-4694. We encourage your questions, even if you want to call now and ask questions, and maybe we'll review them on the next show. Or one-on-one. If you have some questions about yourself or just some general things, what we talk about, we really encourage you to give us a call. 631-647-4694 is my number. I'm also host of the Main Street Code for Financial Success and president and owner of Main Street Planning Group, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Senior Show. Coming up is this Independence Day, and perhaps it's the greatest freedom isn't political victory for one side or another. It's having a financial plan that allows you to weather the changing administrations, shifting tax laws, market volatility, economic uncertainty. Financial freedom means your future isn't determined by a political spin, but it's guided by preparation, discipline, and informed decision-making. And you have to think to yourself, are you dependent on politicians to solve your problems? Ain't going to happen, right? What do you think, Tim?
Nope. It's not going to happen. You need to reach out to individuals like ourselves, right? Because we have the connections for you to help you, plan for that next step, mitigate risk or loss, if and when there is change that is unexpected. And financial freedom, financial independence is key.
Right.
That's what makes this country great. But you need to be proactive
and take matters in your hands.
What you can or can't do in the future. You just can't rely on, local government or federal government or state government, to navigate how you're going to live the rest of your life. You need to take a proactive stance on what you have and what you don't have and what you think you may need in retirement or, raising a family.
Right.
Who just had a new baby recently, right? How are they going to guide the rest of their lives and provide for their family and their children, for the college years and the wedding years and the medical expenses? All that stuff costs money, and it needs to get paid for, right? Everybody deserves to get paid. That's what makes this country great. But you can't rely on other people for what you're going to need.
So you need to ask yourself, and I encourage all listeners to write down what financial decisions can you make today, regardless of who wins the election or what happens. What can you do today to better yourself for your future? And you really got to think about it. Some of the steps that you can take today. Build emergency savings. We talk about that all the time. Reduce your debt. That's a biggie. Find that everybody's out there spending too much on frivolous things. And accumulating debt is the cancer that hurts us. That's the thing that grows and doesn't get better. Diversify your investments, but diversify your tax classes. What type of investments do you have? What do you have coming in tax-free? What's taxable? Plan for your taxes in retirement. Protect your income with insurance, the right kind of insurance, whether it's long-term care, which I believe everybody needs, or life insurance to protect you and your family. And create multiple sources of retirement income. These are things we talk about all the time, Tim, and we have solutions to help you.
Remember, Neil, when you were house shopping, what did the realtor say to you and your wife all the time? when you're looking at houses, whether you liked the house or didn't like a house, they always said, listen, it's not about the house. It's about location, location, location.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, I focus primarily with homeowners over the age of 62. And what I tell them now is the key now is cash flow, cash flow, cash flow.
Yep.
And by figuring out what you have and where you can put it, for tax protection and tax benefits and where you can accumulate more wealth and be able to access tax-free funds versus, having to pay the tax man and depleting that retirement portfolio. You want to hold on to that retirement portfolio as long as you possibly can. And where can you access other money that's tax-free? I know I sound like a broken record, Neil, but hey, home equity. Homeowners today over the age of 62 are carrying over $14 trillion of home equity. And hey, why are we not incorporating that into our retirement plan? It's tax-free money. Right. And you mentioned it before, Neil, the reverse mortgage line of credit is the best kept secret out there because it can never be shut down.
Right.
It can never be reduced. And as a matter of fact, it has a guaranteed growth rate factor to it. So it actually increases over time.
If you don't use it.
I'm sorry?
If you don't use it or even if you're using it?
If you don't, well, if it's on the line of credit, it's going to continue to grow. And then, if you start using the money, that's fine. But whatever balance is left in that line of credit will continue to grow. But even if there's a downturn in the market, that line of credit can never be shut down or reduced, and it will continue to grow. Because I have clients all the time say to me, Tim, why don't I just take out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit? Well, you can, but you know something? That line of credit can be shut down or reduced if there's a downturn in the market.
Right.
We talked about cash flow. If you take out a home equity line of credit, now you're obligated to make a monthly payment. You're right back where you started. Right? So
yeah, it's huge.
The idea, yep.
Better than paying 29.6% on your credit card or whatever credit cards are charging these days. 30%. Right. Can you imagine paying? Listen, 30% is a scary number. If you're paying 30% on the credit card debt, think about that thing you got on sale and put on your credit card, where you probably paid 10% less, but it doesn't make a difference to the store because you're paying 30% more when you pay it back.
Yeah. I talk to clients all the time, Neil, and you find out that they're using their credit cards to supplement their income.
No. It's a downhill spiral.
What happens? Yeah, it just bites, right? And now they can't. Now they're struggling to make their housing expenses, and now they got this $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 credit card debt at 30%.
Right.
And $30,000 at 30%. That's $9,000 a month in credit card debt.
And to make matters worse, they're taking money out of their retirement, paying 30% tax on that, and then paying off a credit card with 30% VIG on that. You know, what's your dollar worth? Now you're down to 40 cents. Right.
Right. Okay. But Bill, now let's throw in inflation and fixed income. You know what I'm saying? So now everything just gets squeezed from every different direction. But how can we prevent that?
Well, like you said, a home equity line, rather than paying 30%, maybe I'm paying prime or a little over prime, and I have the choice to pay it back or not when I want to pay it back. That's right. Huge.
Yeah. Yep.
And having that flexibility, people use whole life like that also. A lot of real estate investors. Actually, I'm speaking in a week or two. I had a bunch of real estate investors call me to talk about this concept called infinite banking. And basically what they do is they put a ton of money into whole life insurance, and then when they want to flip a house or buy more real estate, they borrow the money out of that. They don't have to pay it back right away. They pay it back when they want to. There's no forms to fill out. It's just like a reverse equity line. Very similar, by the way, except it's your own money that you've built up and grown. And they pay it back when they want to pay it back, as long as they don't let it lapse. And it's a home run, just like a home equity line. Very similar. It's funny how different products and different ways of doing things all come to better results than what you're possibly doing today.
Well, and each different product, even though they're different, they kind of mirror themselves.
Right. Crazy.
Right, with the idea of, it's true. And it's all about creating that additional cash flow and financial, something to fall back on, right, like a buffer asset or secure something that you may need sometime in the future. So you're not caught, needing funds and now they're not accessible, or they're accessible, but now you got to pay the tax man. Right, now you got to pay, big chunk of money to Uncle Sam.
Right.
And why do that if there's other ways that you can preserve those funds?
And this country was founded on independence. And you being independent and you trying independently to finance your personal freedom. Listen, we're running out of time, Tim. This is the senior show. And Tim, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, man. Thanks, Neil. So Tim Kennedy, your certified reverse mortgage professional. If I said something today that piqued your interest, give me a call, 516-729-6040, or you can reach me at timtalksreverse.com.
And if you want to yell at me or ask me a question, give me a call, 631-647-4694. This is Neil Himmelstein, also host of the Main Street Code for Financial Success and owner of Main Street Planning Group. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.